Hey guys, what's going on, and welcome back to the Accumulation Zone. In today's video, I'm super excited to finally release Scalper Pro version 2. Alright guys, let's get started straight away with all the new features I added for Scalper Pro version 2. The first feature are more advanced alerts, so if you click on those three dots up here, you can simply click on Add Alert here at the top. You can select one out of all those alerts, for example now also the Scalper Pro Band Squeeze. Click on it, give it a name, call it Band Squeeze and the pair you're looking at. For example here SPX 500. And you can select any of those settings here and create the alert, and every time a band squeeze will be detected now, you will receive an alert from TradingView. And here's a little example. I just received a notification that a alert has been triggered, and it was the SP500 band squeeze, just as I've shown you. The second major part of the Scalper Pro version 2 update is the band squeeze detection. So right here in the settings, you can go down here to the squeeze detection and modify the lookback period for the squeeze detection. So it's basically comparing the width of the last, for example right here, last 35 bars candles, and is comparing the average size to the size right now. And we see right here, for example, we have a band squeeze plus a breakout right here, followed by a massive rally. So this yellow background indicates, or as soon as this yellow background pops up, you will be alerted. So most of the time you will be alerted very early on, and then you just have to spend a minimum amount of time in front of your computer to capture a massive rally like this one. So right here again we see a band squeeze with a breakout followed by a massive rally. So here we've been alerted by the band squeeze after the first candle close, and we broke out of that squeeze here. So here we saw that squeeze nice and clearly. We broke out of it to the upside, and what happened? We followed with a massive rally. Same here, we have been alerted by a squeeze. We broke out to the downside, and what happened? We had a little retracement. And same thing here, we had a band squeeze with a breakout right here. And now to the last two new features in Scalper Pro version 2. If you click into the settings here, I structured everything a little bit more smoothly. I optimized the code, and I added those little information buttons to give you a little bit more insight of what each setting is used for. Alright guys, now I'm ready to show you a few trade examples. I'd say let's get straight into it. If you want access to the Scalper Pro indicator, the FinAlgo, and all the other coded strategies I've coded on YouTube so far, you can now support me and the YouTube channel right here on Patreon now, and you can currently get a 50% off discount. This is not going to be happening again, and you can secure yourself the Scalper Pro version 2 and all the future coming updates with 50% off. And if you only want access to the Scalper Pro indicator, you can simply request a 7 to 14 day free trial by simply sending me a message here on Telegram, and I will give you a 14-day free trial to test the Scalper Pro indicator yourself and convince yourself. Just use the TradingView replay function for that. Right here, you click on replay and you... Alright guys, let's first of all get started with a few trade examples I posted into my Telegram group, so you guys know what you can expect if you join my Telegram group. And yeah, because I post them every day when I'm trading the Asian session and the London session. So yeah, let's have a look at the first example. So right here we had a Scalper Pro band squeeze, and we entered on a confirmed color change, but not simply just using the Scalper Pro. I also look at the candlesticks, and I've seen a little free bar play happening right here, a nice little candlestick formation I like to trade. So we had a bullish candle, a bearish candle that retraced down, but less than 50% of that bullish candle, followed by another bullish candle that's engulfing this little red retracement candle. So that was my entry point. I moved my stop loss right here at the lowest swing low, or the closest swing low basically. And I'm usually shooting during the Asian session. I'm shooting for a 1 to 1.5 risk reward, sometimes a 2 risk reward. And during a London session, especially for reversals, especially at market opening, I am looking forward to target a free risk to reward. Same happened here. We have been alerted by a squeeze. This right here, this little edge down here could have been a very early on entry, because this is basically the best reversal pattern you could find, because we have horizontal Scalper Pro bands and the Scalper Pro line is breaking out of it to the downside and reversing straight back into it after one single candle. So right here on Bitcoin USDT on Binance 5-minute chart, we can see we could have either entered right here on this candle when the Scalper Pro entered into the bands, or we would have entered right after a confirmed color change and another pro band squeeze and a few bullish candles. Alright, let's move on to our second example. Right here I was using support and resistance and a volume spread analysis indicator I've recently seen in one of TradeIQ's videos, so I was curious of testing it out. And right here we saw strong support on the S&P 500 index 5-minute 8-cap chart. So we had 1 bounce, 2, 3, 4, and on the 5th one we broke through it. We had a bearish retest of this support resistance line, that support line, which has been turned into resistance right as we broke through it. So we had a bearish retest of this resistance line right here, and right afterwards we had a bearish engulfing candlestick. Our squeeze detection was already fired off early on, so we had enough time to prepare ourselves for the breakout after the squeeze. And right here the VSA indicator confirmed my bias with steady increase in volume. So you can clearly see that I'm not just basing my trades on the Scalper Pro, I'm using TA with support and resistance levels, candlestick analysis, price patterns and volume, just to confirm everything, so I will have a high probability setup I can go into. Alright guys, now let's move on to the third example. So right here in this third example, we can also on S&P 500 index on a 5-minute 8-cap chart. Again, we can clearly see a M pattern forming here with a double top resistance right from this little wick up here. And what do we notice on the Scalper Pro? The Scalper Pro detected squeezes very early on, so we would have received an alert while the M pattern was still forming. And right here on this little rejection at the upper Bollinger Band of the Scalper Pro indicator, during a squeeze we had a massive bearish engulfing candle at the double top resistance line. We had a little wick that was sweeping all the stop losses and buy orders that were placed above this resistance line, and we had increased volume, very increased volume, and that's all setups during the Asian session. So during the Asian session you have decreased volatility and less manipulation, in my opinion. That's why I really enjoy trading the Asian session in the morning, usually on a 1 to 5 minute time frame. And if you look at this whole setup, this whole M pattern, a little bit zoomed out, you can see consolidation. And the consolidation started when we first received our alert that a squeeze was detected. We swept some lows to grab some liquidity, moved it back up into the consolidation upper limit here right at this double top, had our momentum shifting candle, our bearish candlestick here, our bearish engulfing with a rejection right up here, and super massive bearish volume. Alright guys, now here another example I posted into the Telegram group. This is one of my live trades. So right here I'm using the Scalper Pro in Confluence with smart money concepts and price action. So first of all we saw some sort of consolidation, not like lots of volume during the early Asian session. So we saw a double top being formed here between those 2 points, and we know there is liquidity in forms of stop losses and new buy orders resting above there. We have a bullish order block right here and right here. So when we received this squeeze alert right here and it was followed by a bearish breakout, you would see that not every single one of those breakout alerts after a squeeze automatically mean a change in trend or a reversal or a massive breakout. So for example here, we just continued squeezing and there was no confirmation because we were still moving between those two areas. And right here we received another squeeze with a breakout to the top. And all it was, if you know about smart money concepts and what ICT, for example, is teaching on YouTube for free, you would know that the chances of this turning out to be a liquidity grab with a little break of structure to trap people who are waiting to go long right above all this liquidity and above all those highs because they marked their little trend line. So yeah, this basically turned out to be a liquidity grab. And on the squeeze detection, I saw a reversal based on the re-entry into the scalper bands right here on this candle. Yeah, and I took it down for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. Obviously, this setup, for example, would be a high risk setup because it could easily just pop up and continue within the trend direction. Alright, and if we have a closer look, I marked up an order block here, a bullish order block right here, and another one down here. And yeah, let's see how price is reacting to those order blocks and how the Scalper Pro can help us finding our entries using smart money concepts. Alright, let's move over to this little image here I posted, because right here on this candle I entered based on the 1 minute time frame because we reached the order block and what was followed straight after an impulsive move for an easy 2-to-1 risk to reward trade. But now you're wondering, there are no signals here on the 5 minute time frame on the S&P 500 index. You're right, because I entered on the 1 minute time frame. And what did we see on the 1 minute time frame? We saw a little wick outside of the lower Scalper Pro band, and a squeeze was detected at the same time. So this could have been a very aggressive entry right at the close of the candle, or you would have just simply waited till we break out of the Scalper Pro bands to the upside within the order block, and that's exactly where I placed my entry. I placed my stop loss right here at the bottom of that wick and shot for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And let's continue with this example, because right afterwards we had a little pullback with another very bullish candlestick that is erasing the last 3 bearish candlesticks, so a massive engulfing candle, going again for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio on the 1 minute time frame. And let's keep going with another example. I'm just gonna be busting out examples for this whole video so you guys get a feeling of how I use the Scalper Pro indicator on a daily basis to trade the markets. So right here on S&P 500 again, that's my favorite index to trade, we saw consolidation, so very small candle bodies with bigger wicks than candle bodies, and we have been alerted by our squeeze indication already right on this candle, so we are still waiting for it to break out. And if we have a look at the next picture, we saw, okay, the squeeze was detected, we still had the consolidation around the VWAP and the 144 EMA, and we broke out of the upper scalping bands already, but we had no confirmation on this candle because we didn't break structure yet. That's why I patiently waited for the next breakout that would also be confirmed by the structure here. So with this candle we broke all this consolidation structure, and I took the trade, placed my stop loss at this little swing low here, and was going for a 2-to-1 risk to reward ratio. And right after that, the Scalper Pro indicator alerted me with another squeeze detection, and we broke out to the downside. But I saw that we are just retesting this consolidation box. If you would draw a line here, we perfectly retested it here, had a bullish engulfing, and yeah, it's basically all it was a EMA pullback or a consolidation box pullback, and we reversed straight back into the Scalper Pro bands. And yeah, that's what I consider a beautiful reversal opportunity with the Scalper Pro. And this is what I really want to point out here. I don't only trade based on the Scalper Pro indicator. For example, here I would have been faked out. I wait for confluence of structure, price action, my EMA or my VWAP, and yeah, make it as simple as it possibly can be. I'm also using Fibonacci levels. For example, right here we had a beautiful Fibonacci pullback followed by an engulfing candle, and I still took the trade, and it turned out as a profitable trade. And let's keep going with more Telegram examples. So right here I shared a Bitcoin daily time frame because someone was asking me if I see Bitcoin breaking above 21k. And that's actually the perfect example, because right here I am already using Scalper version 2.1 because I am working on candle coloring based on the Scalper Pro line. So for example, here we had this little green upwick here on the Scalper Pro, and we see it also changed the candle colors. So basically how I like to use it is as a replacement for Heikin Ashi with real-time live price data. So you don't have to look at Heikin Ashi charts to figure out if we are in a downtrend or in an uptrend. Simply because I don't like Heikin Ashi charts, because I don't see the real-time price data, and every time I see someone backtest their YouTube strategies on a Heikin Ashi chart, I already know it's not gonna work out. Because with live trading and spreads and commissions and the price difference from a Heikin Ashi candle chart to a Japanese candlestick chart is gonna be huge. So right here we are on a daily time frame, and I'm still using the Scalper Pro with the basic settings. And I shared this trade of mine where I spotted the consolidation, and I have been alerted by the band squeeze alert right here while we were still in the consolidation, and I wanted to see the break of this consolidation box here. I already got it on this candle, but I wasn't too sure about it, so I waited for another candle till we broke out of the Scalper Pro Bollinger Bands here with the Scalper Pro line. And what happened? We dropped by 30% for a simple 2-to-1 risk to reward trade. And right here, currently we are within this consolidation. This box is ranging from 18,777 to 22,600. So we are still trapped in this consolidation. Don't get fooled out if you look at a 1 minute or 5 minute Bitcoin chart that we are going to instantly recover. And right here I mentioned to wait for a squeeze detection again, followed by a breakout. It could happen to the upside, it could happen to the downside. That's what I mean. I don't try to predict what is going to happen. I react. So for example here, it could have gone either ways. We could have broke out to the upside, but with all the confluence I had from the chart with price action and pattern analysis and the Scalper Pro, I was sure it's gonna break down to the downside. Another example to really prove the point here that you can use the Scalper Pro on every asset, not just like other YouTubers always claim this strategy works on every asset. This one actually does. So I'm still using the Scalper Pro with the basic settings on a daily time frame to just see how it performs on a Netflix chart. And what do we see here? Alright, we had a squeeze alert. We broke out with that squeeze right here on this line. And if we would have entered a position right here, we could have made we could have gained up to 34% using the Scalper Pro indicator. And again, we had our peak on Tesla. That was right here at $720 on a daily Nasdaq chart for Netflix. Sorry if I said Tesla. I sometimes get confused with stocks because I don't trade them too oftenly. And right here again, we saw a peak bearish divergence, a squeeze. I have been alerted by the squeeze with a breakout. And if we would have entered right here, as soon as the breakout occurred after we broke all the structure, we could have made another potential 73.43% to the very bottom. So you see, you can use the Scalper Pro on every time frame. That's the daily time frame, and it's called the Scalper Pro. So it's meant to work really well on 1 and 5 minute time frames for everyone who's scalping. But if you're a swing trader, definitely check out the Scalper Pro. You see how it works, even on stocks, on indices, on cryptocurrencies. I can show you more examples. Just join my Telegram group where I'm going to be posting my daily trades and daily setups every single day. Alright guys, I hope this video so far has helped you to get an idea of how to use the Scalper Pro indicator with your manual TA and Confluence to make it work really well. And now I'm gonna show you some live trading examples of this Thursday when I was trading the day after the NFP event. So for everyone that's from New York or from America right now, I changed my time zone to UTC -4 to the New York time. And we see that right on this next candle, when the Asian session began, or the Sydney session, I still consider, so that's this, for example, for me would be 6 AM in the morning, and for everyone that's trading around the New York time zone, this would be 6 PM in the afternoon. So right here we saw that I entered on this gap down. As soon as I saw that opening gap, I jumped into a trade, moved my stop loss here to the upside, and let's see what happened afterwards. We got a little rejection, but we eventually broke to the downside, making this trade a winning trade. Let's hide them again. So right here we had a winning trade, and I entered on this opening gap. And same again, here the Scalper Pro, we had a band squeeze detected, and we broke down to the downside right when the Asian session started. And that's another reason why I hopped into this trade. Let's continue playing. I'm gonna show you my trades already, because otherwise it's just gonna take too much time. Let's continue playing those bars. And for example, right here, I drew Fibonacci levels from all the way up here to down here, and I was marking up, no, actually from here to here, and I was marking up the box between 32.8 Fibonacci level and 50%, because I like to see retracements, or that's a 61.8, so I like to see retracements within this area. And afterwards I want to see the structure broken by a massive bearish candlestick. That's why I entered here. There was not much Scalper Pro confirmation other than still being bearish. So if we continue clicking through it, we saw we have also been rejected right around the VWAP. And I took this trade for a 3-to-1 risk to reward. And let's see how it turned out. And we hit our take profit. Right, the next one, I usually take 4 trades during the Asian session in the morning. So right here, if we look at this specific trade, what do we see? I drew the Fibonacci levels again from top here to the bottom, and I marked up this box again, because it doesn't always hit the 61.8, but as mentioned in my Telegram group already, I like to trade an impulse followed by a retracement, and I catch the next impulse. I want to see the retracement confirmed, usually either by a color change or a squeeze being detected. So right here we have it. We have our impulse, retracement, and then I was going for another impulse to the downside. Let's see what happened. We also have been alerted by our squeeze detection right here, and we changed the colors. Alright, let's continue playing that stuff. And we see I had another winning trade. This Asian session was very exceptional. I never had an Asian session like this before, using the Scalper Pro indicator in Confluence with my own rules and entry criteria in my trading plan. And let's see, right here, this morning was crazy. So if I draw the fibs again, we saw I have my little box here. We retraced right onto the 38.2 fib level, had a bearish engulfing candlestick. We changed the color on the Scalper Pro indicator, and let's see what happened afterwards. Did we hit our take profit? Yes, we hit our take profit. We retested this little area with those wicks, and you already saw this example. This was this consolidation I posted into the Telegram group. We hit profit again, and again I drew the fib levels. We had a retracement, bullish engulfing, shot right through it, and again all those brown boxes are Fibonacci pullbacks I traded, or I would have traded if I wouldn't stop at my daily profit target of 5 to 6% usually. So just to zoom in here again, this would have been a perfect entry based on the Scalper Pro reversal opportunity. This one here, those ones were mainly based off the Fibonacci pullback. and in confluence with the Scalper Pro color. So I, for example, wouldn't go into a long trade if the Scalper Pro color would be bearish. If I get this Fibonacci pullback, I wait for confluence. Right up here, we had a beautiful double top that we touched once, twice, 3 times, and then a 4th time. And let's see what happens on the candlestick where I entered into my trade. So right here, we already received our squeeze alert, but we haven't seen a breakout of the Scalper Pro bands yet. So right here on this candle close, was it on the candle close? Yeah, right here on this candle close, I actually have to modify that. Didn't see that. I was going for a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. As soon as we broke out, let's see what happens. And we hit our take profit. I placed my take profit also at 2-to-1 risk reward, even though it was during the London opening. No, it wasn't actually during the London opening. That was probably the Frankfurt opening. And I could have gone for a 3-to-1 risk reward, but I saw the VWAP here, and I don't like putting my take profit below the VWAP if we already took all this profit from this distance up here all the way down to the VWAP. Alright, let's continue playing this. I hope you like this sort of freestyle video of me, just showing off how I am using the Scalper Pro indicator. So right again, we saw a squeeze detected, we had a little gap. That's right where I entered, because I think again I used the Fibonacci pullback from here to here. So a beautiful pullback, a massive momentum shifting candle. And this time I took profit below the VWAP since we already broke it once. We reversed back up very close to the 144 EMA to hit our take profit of a 3-to-1 risk to reward. Alright, and now we're right around the stage where the London market's opening up. And again, that's just that smart money technique. We had VWAP and EMA laying above our first initial top right here. I marked this little thing here up. And we saw right during the opening, we broke above it to grab liquidity, had our little fake out wick right here. Let me zoom in so you can see it. And Scalper Pro perfectly confirmed the setup with a straight reversal back into the Scalper Pro bands. So there wasn't enough confidence for me, because I knew during the London opening it's going to be a very, very, very volatile market. So I waited for a momentum shifting candle, and I received it right here, and I was shooting for a 2 to 2.5 risk reward. I think I closed this trade out a little bit earlier because we broke down to the downside again. And yeah, let's look for the next example. And what do we see? We had a breakout to the downside, another reversal opportunity after this fake out one, a bullish engulfing candlestick, but not enough confidence for me. I'm very patient, wait for the next candlestick to be printed. Saw this massive bullish candlestick, hopped into the trade, placed my stop loss right here on this bottom wick. I didn't want to give it too much room, and closed the trade at a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio right before we crossed the VWAP and 144 EMA. Let's just keep doing this till we run out of examples. And right now, to finish this video up, I'm going to show you one more example without showing you where I entered before. So right here we would have received our squeeze alert, and we can perfectly see that we are consolidating here within this range. So right now I would be waiting for a breakout to either the upside or the downside with confirmation. So let's see what's happening. We're still squeezing. We broke the structure already, but we haven't seen anything on the Scalper Pro. You could make an early entry based on the color change, but I would still be waiting. Alright, you see, that's the reason why. Next candle, we had a bearish engulfing candle, but still we are still squeezing. We haven't broken out of the Scalper Pro bands yet. So we're just basically expanding this consolidation range. Let's continue. And right on this candle here, we broke we definitely broke all the support we had here. We broke this structure, and we broke out of the Scalper Pro bands. The squeeze is officially over. So you could place your entry right here on this candle. at the close of this candle, place your stop loss somewhere up here and shoot for a 1 to 1.5, depending on how willing you are to risk. And let's see what happened afterwards. Super easy drop. We could have even went for a 2 to 1 risk reward, and let's see what's happening afterwards. We formed a little double bottom, squeezed again. Alright guys, thank you very much for watching this video to the end. In my next update I'm going to include colored bars based on the scalper lines. So when the scalper lines are green, the bars are green, and when the scalper line is red, the candles are going to be red. And I'm also going to add an option to color the bars based on the scalper bands. So for example, you're only gonna see green candles if you're breaking like here above the Bollinger Band, and you're only gonna see red candles if we are breaking below it. Let me zoom in here to show you that very quick. Do we have the right settings? Yes. So right here, only when we are below the lower Bollinger Band, right, for example here, we see red candles, and when we're breaking above it, we see green candles. Alright guys, thank you very much, and if you found this video helpful, please subscribe to my YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up, and I will see you in the next video.